Bonnie Tyler is a Welsh singer. She was born in Skewen, Wales, and spent 7 years performing in pubs and clubs around South Wales before being signed to RCA Records in 1975. Tyler came to prominence with the release of her 1977 album The World Starts Tonight and its singles Lost in France, and More Than a Lover. Her 1978 single It's a Heartache was a hit on both sides of the Atlantic, reaching number 4 in the UK and number 3 in the US. After winning the 10th World Popular Song Festival in 1979, Tyler converted from country music to rock music. Her career peaked in the 1980s when she collaborated with Jim Steinman, releasing international hits Total Eclipse of the Heart, and Holding Out for a Hero. Tyler's success in this period culminated in 2 Brit Award and 3 Grammy Award nominations. She was also listed in the Guinness Book of British Hit Albums for being the first female artist to enter the UK album charts at number 1 with Faster Than the Speed of Night. Tyler's shift from rock to pop and soft rock in the 1990s led to success in continental Europe with singles Bitter Blue, Fool's Lullaby, and Making Love Out of Nothing at All. Making a comeback in 2003, she released Si Demain with Corinne Antone, which was a number 1 in France for 10 weeks. Her latest album Rocks and Honey has had moderate success in Europe, with her single Believe in Me being used as the UK's entry for the Eurovision Song Contest 2013. Following the contest, Tyler received 2 Eurovision Song Contest Radio Awards for Best Song and Best Singer, making her the first UK representative to win the award. Her distinctive husky voice, which is a result of an operation to remove vocal nodules, has had her compared to artists such as Rod Stewart and Kim Carnes. Tyler has been referred to as the international First Lady of Rock, and 2 of her songs are among the best-selling singles of all time. Early life: Gaynor Hopkins was born in Skewen, Wales on June 8, 1951. Her father, Glyn Hopkins, was a coal miner and her mother, Elsie Hopkins, was a housewife and member of the local church choir. Hopkins was brought up in a deeply religious family. The Hopkins family were all music lovers. "We used to have a very old radiogram," Tyler recalled, "and there was always music on in the house." Her mother listened to opera music, and her siblings listened to artists and groups such as Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra and the Beatles, while Hopkins listened to Motown music and female artists such as Janis Joplin and Tina Turner. She concluded her education in the 1960s, leaving school with no qualifications, and began working in the local grocery shop. In April 1969, when she was aged 17, Hopkins's aunt entered her in a local talent contest. She sang the Mary Hopkin hit Those Were the Days, and the Ray Charles song I Can't Stop Loving You, finishing in second place, and won a £1. She later successfully auditioned to join Bobby Wayne and the Dixies as a backing singer after finding an advert in a local newspaper. 2 years later, she formed her own band called Imagination and performed with them in pubs and clubs all over southern Wales. It was then that she decided to adopt the stage name of Shireen Davis, taking the names from her niece's forename and favourite aunt's surname. Despite the 2 name changes, her family and friends still know her as Gaynor. On July 14, 1973, she married Robert Sullivan, an estate agent and Swansea nightclub manager who had represented the UK at the 1972 Munich Olympics as a judo car. In the following year, Davis and Imagination performed Armed and Extremely Dangerous on the British television talent show New Faces, coming 4th out of 7 contestants. She quoted Mickie Most as saying, "The girl has got something but the boys are just playing away." Embarrassed to speak between songs when performing in South Wales, Davies began attending elocution lessons to neutralise her Welsh accent, but gave up after 6 weeks. In 1975, Roger Bell, working for Chapel Music at the time, visited a music club in South Wales to see some record contract hopefuls, but came in on the wrong floor to find Hopkins singing Nutbush City Limits with Imagination. She was invited to London to record a handful of demos, and months later she received a phone call from RCA Records asking to sign her to a record contract. Before signing, another name change was recommended. She compiled a list of surnames and Christian names and settled on Bonnie Tyler. Career: 1976 a Euro 81, early success. In 1976, Tyler was spotted singing the Ike and Tina Turner song Nutbush City Limits in the Townsman Club in Swansea by the songwriting and producing team of Ronnie Scott and Steve Wolfe, who became her managers, songwriters and producers. Tyler began by recording a track entitled My Honeycomb, which did not garner any chart success, but did gain local airplay in Swansea. RCA Records increased the promotional backing of her second single, Lost in France, flying a party of journalists to meet Tyler at a car centre in France. The single did not find immediate chart success, but instead grew slowly. After 6 weeks, Lost in France finally entered the UK Top 50 and peaked at number 9, remaining in the top of the charts for 10 weeks. Amidst the promotional effort accompanying the new single, Tyler found her vocals adopting a raspy quality and was diagnosed with large vocal nodules that needed to be urgently treated. After failing to observe the 6 weeks of vocal rest advised by her doctor, her voice was left with a permanent husky sound which became her career trademark. Tyler's career continued regardless, and she was announced as the support act during Gene Pitney's tour in February 1977. The success of the single saw Tyler nominated for the Brit Award for Best British Newcomer in 1977. She was voted 6th in Record Mirror's Brightest Hope for 77 category, leading to the release of her debut album, The World Starts Tonight, in 1977. With the lead single also achieving chart success in Europe, a second single was released in the UK. More Than a Lover was banned from being shown on TV by the BBC due to unsuitable lyrical content, hampering chart success, though the single did make the UK Top 30. The World Starts Tonight was viewed as being filled with promise and indications of great things to come, though during press interviews in 1976, Tyler admitted that the lead single of the album wasn't her preferred style, and that her interest lay in funkier music. In the summer of 1977, a new single entitled Heaven was released, met with mixed reviews from music critics, and failed to chart well in the UK, though it did reach the top 30 in Germany. Promotion for the single was hindered by the death of Elvis Presley, which diverted RCA's capabilities. The next single was It's a Heartache, which made Bonnie Tyler an international star. Her vocals were instantly compared to Rod Stewart's due to the distinct raspy quality that she had developed. The song reached number 4 in the UK, number 3 in the US, number 2 in Germany, and also achieved chart success in France and Australia. The single went on to be certified gold in the US, Canada and the UK, and platinum in France, had Tyler coming 10th place in Record Mirror's Best Female Singer of 1977, and she was also given a Bravo Otto Award in Germany for her success in Europe. The third single, Here Am I, followed in spring 1978, failing to follow the success of It's a Heartache, but did make the German top 20. With those two singles Tyler held the third and fourth spot in the Norwegian singles chart for a week in 1978. Natural Force included a cover of the Carole King song, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. Tyler performed the song live in Los Angeles in front of King, who approached her afterwards to compliment her on the interpretation. The success of Natural Force led to RCA Records releasing Tyler's first compilation album. The Hits of Bonnie Tyler, which contained a handful of A-sides and B-sides fleshed out with several tracks from The World Starts Tonight, made the top 10 in several European countries and reached number 1 in the Norwegian albums chart. Tyler's next album, Diamond Cut, was released in 1979. Again unable to penetrate the UK album charts, and with no success in the US, the album only saw mediocre success in Europe. It charted within the top 20 in the Swedish album charts, and number 42 in the US country charts. British promotion was limited. Tyler performed at the 1979 Longleat Country Music Festival in June, alongside Johnny Cash, Rita Coolidge and Chris Christopherson. Tyler followed this with her first tour of Japan. The single My Guns Are Loaded peaked at number 3 in France and 10 in Canada. In the same year, she recorded The World Is Full of Married Men, the theme to the film of the same name. It became a minor UK top 40 hit in the summer. Contemporary reviews of the single were negative. Record Mirror's reviewer said Bonnie stops chewing gravel for a minute or two, and continued with "She ends up sandpapering my eardrums again. Ouch." Tyler appeared on the film credits performing the song. Of all four of Tyler's albums with Scott and Wolf's involvement, this album received the most positive review. Thomas Meriaca reviewed all four of Tyler's 1977 Euro 80 albums, often stating that they simply paved the way for her teaming with Jim Steinman, though declared Diamond Cut to be the high point of her early career, and a dynamite showcase for Tyler's inimitable voice. Record Mirror's Kelly Pike gave the album 3 stars out of 5, stating that only a minority of the material was holding her back, and that the album is essential listening for country music fans. Tyler's final album with RCA was Goodbye to the Island in 1981. A more upbeat collection of songs compared to her previous album. The album was mainly recorded in the Algarve, Portugal, using the RCA mobile recording facility. The track Sitting on the Edge of the Ocean was the Grand Prix winner of the 1979 Yamaha World Song Festival held in Tokyo. The track was also recorded in Spanish and entitled Sola a la Orilla del Mar, released in Argentina and Spain in the same year. The single I Believe in Your Sweet Love was listed as a single of the week in 1979 by Daniela Suva from Record Mirror. The album received the lowest rating of Tyler's 4 Scott and Wolf albums, receiving 3 out of 5 stars from AllMusic. By this time, other music critics saw Tyler as doomed to be a one-hit wonder. Tyler stated that a woman once turned to her in a club with pennies in her hand and said, "There you are, love. Yower Euro unregistered trademark LL need them before long. Yower Euro unregistered trademark LL just be a one-hit wonder." Despite this, she continued to have success in the next decade. Phil Hendricks from Cherry Records said that Tyler proved, time and time again that she was one of those rare artists who was able to take the odd chart flop on the chin and bounce back having suffered little collateral damage. Before traveling to New York to begin the peak of her career with Jim Steinman, Tyler recorded one more single called Sayonara Tokyo, which was released in Japan. 1982 Euro 86, the Jim Steinman collaboration and Hide Your Heart. Tyler released 4 albums for RCA Records from 1977 to 1981, but she became increasingly dissatisfied with Scott and Wolf's management, who were trying to market her as a pop country music artist. "I didn't even like it as I was recording it," Tyler told People magazine. She spent the last 18 months of her RCA contract at home, neither recording nor performing music. When her contract with RCA expired, she signed with David Aspden Management. After seeing Meat Loaf's performance of Bat Out of Hell on the Old Grey Whistle Test, she approached Jim Steinman to be her new producer. She signed with Columbia Records in 1982. Tyler visited Steinman in his apartment in New York in April 1982 with her manager, where she was presented with 2 tracks: Have You Ever Seen the Rain? And Goin' Through the Motions. In a newspaper interview in 1983, Tyler recalled, Steinman didn't tell me until later that if I hadn't liked those songs, he wouldn't have entertained producing me because he'd have realized we weren't thinking on the same terms." She returned to his studio apartment weeks later, where Steinman and Rory Dodd presented Total Eclipse of the Heart to her. Dodd would later sing the turnaround S on the single. Meat Loaf later claimed the song was originally written for him, but that Epic Records refused to pay Steinman's copyright fee. Tyler denied this claim. "Meat Loaf was apparently very annoyed that Jim gave that to me," Tyler stated. "But Jim said he didn't unregistered trademark write it for Meat Loaf, that he only finished it after meeting me." The single became the most successful in Tyler's career, reaching #1 in the UK, Ireland, France, Australia and the United States, with its sales ultimately exceeding 9 million. Reviews of the single were overwhelmingly positive, describing it as a carefully crafted pop song. An entire album was put together for a spring release in the following year. That album, Faster Than the Speed of Night, was released in Europe in spring and in America in autumn 1983. It has been considered Tyler's finest and most consistent achievement on record, reaching number 1 in the UK and Norway. Her comeback on the US chart was at a time when almost one-third of the Billboard Hot 100 was filled by songs from UK-based acts, a situation not seen since the 1960s British invasion and Beatlemania. Reviews for the album were also positive, with the singles Total Eclipse of the Heart and Have You Ever Seen the Rain being listed as the highlights. A recent review by F News magazine described a number of the tracks as filler material, but drew out similarities between many of the tracks and other 1970s and 1980s hit singles. Both Total Eclipse of the Heart and the album were nominated at the 1984 Grammy Awards. The single for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance and the album for Best Female Rock Vocal Performance. She performed the single live at the Grammy Awards. The success of the album led to her being offered to sing the title song for the James Bond film, Never Say Never Again. However, she disliked the song and so it was passed on to American singer Lani Hall. In addition, the BBC requested that Tyler represent the United Kingdom at the 1983 Eurovision Song Contest, though she turned this down also. The following year, Tyler recorded Here She Comes, written by Giorgio Moroder, for the 1984 restoration version of the science fiction film Metropolis. The song was nominated at the 1985 Grammy Awards for Best Female Rock Vocal Performance. Tyler continued to work with Steinman after the success of Faster Than the Speed of Night, and in 1986 she released her second album with him, entitled Secret Dreams and Forbidden Fire. The most successful single from this album was Holding Out for a Hero, used for the soundtrack of Footloose and as the main theme for the 1984 U.S. television series Cover Up, though the version heard on the TV series was not Tyler's original but performed by the singer for Example Daily. The album was successful in Europe, but only reached number 24 in the UK charts and did not make any impact in the American charts. The second single from the album, If You Were a Woman and I Was a Man, became another top 10 hit in France in 1986 and was certified silver. The song also reached number 1 in Venezuela. Loving You's a Dirty Job But Somebody's Gotta Do It, a duet with Todd Rundgren, became the third single from the album, reaching number 6 in Spain. The fourth and final single from the album was a cover of the Frida Payne song, Band of Gold, which reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot Dance Breakout Singles Sales and number 81 in the UK Singles Chart. Despite its success, the album was not received positively by music critics. Doug Stone gave the album 2 stars. Beginning with, the album is not totally unique, he went on to say that it was substandard compared with Faster Than the Speed of Night. Tyler released one more album with Columbia Records in 1988. It was released under the name Hide Your Heart in Europe, and Notes from America in the United States. Prolific songwriters for the album included Michael Bolton, Albert Hammond and Desmond Child, who also produced the album. The album was a success in Europe, but failed to chart in the United States. The singles from Hide Your Heart were minor hits for Tyler, but went on to be major hits for other artists, including Kiss, Robin Beck, Cher and Frida Payne and Tina Turner with The Best. When looking back over this era, Desmond Child said, "Bonnie Tyler is one of the greatest singers on earth. Why? Because she comes to the studio prepared. I've never even seen her use a lyric sheet to sing. She comes with the song memorized, so when she stands there and sings, she closes her eyes. She's in a sacred space and you feel that. You can say a lot of things about Bonnie Tyler, but you cannot say she does not feel her music." As part of the UK Hide Your Heart tour in 1988, Tyler performed at the Reading Festival among acts such as Meat Loaf and Jefferson Starship. Both Tyler and Meat Loaf were subject to audience abuse, as bottles were held at them during their acts. Meat Loaf cut his performance short after suffering an injury, though Tyler managed to complete her set and encouraged the audience to sing along to It's a Heartache. 1990 Euro 2003, European success with Hansa Records and discarded Andrea Bocelli duet. Tyler's musical style changed in the 1990s as she established a soft pop sound. Disappointed with the lack of demand for her music in the United States and United Kingdom, Tyler's managed based her in Germany. she signed to RCA Records and began crafting a new album with producer and songwriter Dieter Bohlen. Bitter Blue was released in November 1991, and was described as a pleasant collection of pop songs by AllMusic. They also stated that the album started a much more mainstream and less bombastic direction in Tyler's career. Giorgio Moroder and Albert Hammond also contributed to the album. The lead single, Bitter Blue, was a substantial hit in Europe, charting highest in Norway at number 2. Bitter Blue was a major success in Europe. It was certified for a platinum by the IFPI Norway, platinum in Austria, and gold in Sweden, Switzerland and Germany. Angel Heart was released as the follow-up album to Bitter Blue in October 1992. Bohlen wrote 11 of the 14 songs on the album. The remaining 3 were written by Jerry Lynn Williams, Frankie Miller, Craig Joyner, Robert John McLang and Anthony Mittman. The album reunited Frankie Miller for their second duet, Save Your Love. Released less than a year since the previous album, Angel Heart saw similar success, with certifications by IFPI Norway, IFPI Austria, IFPI Switzerland and the BMVI. Echoing Bitter Blue, the album's lead single Fool's Lullaby was a European success, charting highest in Norway at number 6. Her success with Angel Heart led to her several awards and nominations, including a Bravo Otto Award in Germany, and an Echo Award for Best Pop Rock Singer of 1993. In January 1993, Tyler's old record company Columbia Records released The Very Best of Bonnie Tyler. Tyler believed that the compilation was released to compete with her newly recorded work. AllMusic described it as a great collection. The Very Best of Bonnie Tyler was certified platinum by the BMVI. The third and final album under RCA, Silhouette in Red, was released in October 1993. Success with this album was less widespread in Europe, though it was still certified platinum by the IFPI Norway. The songwriting team was as condensed as on Angel Heart, as Bohlen wrote 12 of the 15 songs. The final track, You Won't See Me Cry, was co-written by Lee Morris and Tyler's brother Paul Hopkins. She also recorded the Joe Cocker song You Are So Beautiful. In Angel Heart and Silhouette in Red, Bohlen cited his songwriting credits under the pseudonyms of Steve Benson, Jennifer Blake and Howard Houston. AllMusic opined that Tyler's influences often shine through on this hard-to-find album. The album was followed up with the Silhouette in Red tour in Europe. Tyler received the Golden Europa Award and won Best International Female Vocalist at the Echo Awards in 1994. In October 1994, Tyler released a final compilation album with RCA entitled Comeback, Single Collection 90-94, featuring the single Back Home. Neither the compilation nor the single saw any chart success. AllMusic gave the compilation a star rating of 2 out of 5. Tyler's contract with RCA Records expired at the end of the year. After her 3 albums with producer Dieter Bohlen, Tyler wanted to have a more international sound on her next record. She switched labels to Warner Music in 1995 and recorded soft rock and pop album Free Spirit, her first U.S. release since Hide Your Heart, and an album on which she worked again with Jim Steinman as well as other prolific producers such as David Foster and Humberto Gatica. The album was only a minor success in continental Europe, though the single Making Love Out of Nothing at All narrowly missed the UK Top 40. The single featured Tyler's mother's operatic vocals on the intro to the song. The album was re-released in 1996, now including the track Limelight, which was used as the official song of the German Olympic team. The album received a 3-star review from AllMusic. Her vocals were compared to Kim Carney's and Rod Stewart, and the lead single was received positively. Switching to East West Records in the late 1990s, Tyler merged pop music with Celtic music to create All in One Voice, released in 1998. The album was recorded in Dublin, and originally included Live for Love, originally known as Vivo Polari, a duet with Andrea Bocelli. Due to disagreements between record companies, the song was never released and Tease the King became the album's first and only single. All in One Voice became Tyler's worst charting album to date, failing to impact anywhere. During the recording sessions, Tyler also recorded You Are a Woman, which accompanied He's the King on the soundtrack of the German film Der Car Paragraph Nick von St. Pauli. She was also recruited for Rick Wakeman's Return to the Center of the Earth CD the following year, recorded Jack of Hearts as the title theme to a Welsh TV drama of the same name, as well as Tire Tracks and Broken Hearts on the Jim Steinman and Andrew Lloyd Webber composed album Whistle Down the Wind. In 2001, Tyler released a Greatest Hits compilation in conjunction with her 50th birthday. The compilation charted well in Europe, reaching number 2 in Norway, number 5 in Denmark, number 9 in Sweden and number 18 in the United Kingdom. The compilation was certified silver in the UK, gold in Spain and Sweden, and platinum in Norway. The success of the compilation allowed Tyler to tour Europe before beginning plans for her 13th studio album. 2003 A Euro 05, covers album, French version of Total Eclipse of the Heart, and Wings. In 2002, EMI Music suggested Tyler create an album consisting of covers that she would select, accompanied by an orchestra. She had recently worked with Carl Jenkins at Night of the Proms 2002, and asked him to make arrangement for 13 tracks that she selected for the album. All the tracks were originally recorded by the City of Prague Philharmonic Orchestra at Smyky Music Studios in Prague, and Tyler and her band then added their layers at the Engine Room in London between June and September 2002. First released that year, Heart and Soul was later released internationally under the name Heartstrings in March of the following year. The lead single, Against All Odds, was followed by a promotional single, Amazed, and 2 more singles. Heartstrings charted reasonably well in Europe, charting highest in Norway, and was met with positive reviews. A Cardiff newspaper gave the album 3 stars, highlighting her rendition of the Beatles song In My Life as being interpreted with all her husky passion. Reviewers from the Sunday Mercury stated that hit had few surprises, but it's very listenable, and French company Rainbow Booking AS described how the album plays Bonnie into a new sound universe, with reference to the combination of traditional rock instruments in the orchestra. The Heartstrings tour in Germany followed between April and May 2003, and Tyler headlined in the 2003 Donau in Selfest. It was around this time that Tyler reapproached her live concert format, and began touring Europe with her lead guitarist Matt Pryor. They appeared at the Rock for Asia concert in 2005. Also in 2003, French vocalist Corinne Antone sent Tyler a demo recording of Antone singing a French arrangement of Total Eclipse of the Heart, entitled Si Domaine, requesting to duet with her. Tyler accepted and the track was released in December 2003. It went to number 1 in France, holding the top position for 10 weeks, as well as Belgium and Poland, selling over 500,000 copies in France. The success of the single was considered to be Tyler's comeback in France, and received overwhelmingly positive reviews from music critics. The follow-up, Si Tard Sortie, another French-language remake with Antone, also made the French top 20. Both tracks were included on Tyler's 2004 album, Simply Believe. Stuart Emerson also worked on the album, composing 6 of the tracks, 2 of which were re-recordings from Tyler's Free Spirit album from 1995. For the first time in my whole career, I am more involved than ever before, Tyler said when interviewed about her 15th studio album, Wings. As the first time she became actively involved in the songwriting process of one of her albums, Wings marked a shift in Tyler's career, focusing on mainstream pop music. With her main songwriting team consisting of herself, Paul D. Fitzgerald and Karen Droter, they crafted 2 singles, Louise, and Celebrate, neither of which were commercially successful when the album was released in mid-2005. For her birthday in 2005, Tyler and her French band performed in La Cigale, Paris, and in Zaragoza, Spain, before an audience of 100,000 people. The concerts were filmed and brought together to be released on a CD and DVD in 2006 and 2007 respectively. Wings was re-released in the United Kingdom in 2006 under the title Celebrate, though the album again failed to chart. Reviews of the album reflected the success of the album, regarding it as a herald that Tyler should be re-teaming with a producer of Jim Steinman's caliber to bring out the best in her inimitable voice, and that the album content falls short of her previous work in the 1980s. Tyler was awarded with a Steiger Award in Dortmund, Germany in 2005, a Lifetime Achievement Award for her success in the music business. 2006, a 2011, television appearances and Best of 3 CD. Between the release of her 15th and 16th studio albums, Tyler's work consisted of one-off recordings, releasing a handful of compilation albums and appearing on television. In September 2006, Tyler made her first appearance on U.S. television in years, as she sang a duet of Total Eclipse of the Heart with actress Lucy Lawless on the American show Celebrity Duets. Around the same time, she collaborated with the punk group Baby Pink Star to record a new version of the same song. In the following year, a new Greatest Hits collection, From the Heart, Greatest Hits, was released. The compilation reached number 2 in the Irish album charts and number 31 in the UK. She also appeared in an episode of the British TV game show, Nevermind the Buzzcocks. In 2009, it was announced by Mal Pope that he had recruited Tyler to perform the title track to his self-written musical, Cappuccino Girls, which would tour in Wales in the following months. She performed the title song on the opening night in the Grand Theatre, Swansea. Soon after, she made a guest appearance in Hollyoaks Later, in which she sang her hit Holding Out for a Hero with one of the characters. She also recorded another new version of Total Eclipse of the Heart with the Welsh male voice choir Only Men Allowed. For their second album Band of Brothers, which was released in October 2009. In the following year, Tyler appeared in a television advertisement for MasterCard singing a parody of Total Eclipse of the Heart. Tyler performed in Australia at the end of October as a supporting guest for Robin Gibb. Both Gibb and Tyler received negative reviews after their concerts, with Tyler being criticised for her lack of command and a voice that failed her. Her concert in Wellington was similarly critical. The guitars were dialed back to 1983 and stayed there for the entire evening, and the new tracks Tyler performed were described as substandard. In 2011, Tyler appeared on Swedish TV show Kvarkaransilen Currency Adin, singing Total Eclipse of the Heart with Swedish singer Niklas Polstra Paragraph M. Tyler also performed It's a Heartache. She also made a guest appearance in the music video Newport, a parody of the Jay-Z and Alicia Keys song Empire State of Mind for the BBC's comic relief charity. Also in 2011, Tyler won an award at the BMI London Awards for It's a Heartache, gaining over 3 million airplays on US television and radio since it was first recorded in 1977. She also appeared on the Ukrainian version of X Factor as one of the 3 British guests, alongside Kylie Minogue and Cher Lloyd. She performed It's a Heartache, Total Eclipse of the Heart, and Holding Out for a Hero. In December 2011, a portrait of Tyler by Rolf Harris, owned by Kathy Sims, was appraised for £50,000 on BBC's Antiques Roadshow. On September 26, 2011, Sony Music released a compilation entitled Best of 3 CD, which featured 2 new tracks. A duet with French singer Laura Zen entitled Amira Permelternal, and Under One Sky, a song written by Paul D. Fitzgerald, the main songwriter on Tyler's 2005 album Wings. The compilation reached number 36 in France and number 48 in Belgium. It was first released to French radio stations on August 29, 2011. 2012, a Euro 14, Rocks and Honey, Eurovision Song Contest and South Africa tour. Tyler traveled to Nashville, Tennessee with her manager in early 2012 to scout for new material to record. 13 tracks were recorded in the Blackbird Studios in Nashville in the following months, which were later mixed in studios in Los Angeles. The album title Rocks and Honey was announced in an interview with Tyler in Norway in July of the same year, and was declared complete in December 2012 during an interview on an Australian TV show. Amidst the news of the upcoming album, Tyler also recorded a duet with Rolf Harris at Dean Street Studios in August 2012. Their track, Loch Lomond, is expected to be released on his upcoming album, His Favourite Folk Songs. A previously unreleased recording from the 1990s appeared on SoundCloud in March 2012, entitled Never Gonna Take No for an Answer, written by British songwriter Martin Brown and Tyler's bassist and member of Romeo's Daughter, Ed Poole. She also appeared on 3 of Status Quo's UK tour dates in December 2012 as a guest performer. The tour received positive reviews. One reviewer described Tyler's performance of the Janis Joplin track Turtle Blues as one of the highlight moments of her set. Following this, Tyler's career then completely focused on the release of her 16th studio album, and while appearing on a New Year's Eve broadcast concert in Germany, she performed the track All I Ever Wanted for the first time. While on stage, she announced that Rocks and Honey would be released in February 2013. Though around the same time she was approached by the BBC to represent the United Kingdom at the Eurovision Song Contest 2013 in Malmö Paragraph, Sweden, which delayed the album's release by a month. The official announcement was made on March 7, 2013, and that she would perform Believe in Me at the grand final on May 18. A total of 39 countries competed in the contest, with the United Kingdom finishing 19th out of 26. During an interview weeks after the contest, Tyler spoke out against the incidents at the contest that year, and after being asked if she believes the contest is rigged, she replied, "I think so." Despite extensive promotional support, the single failed to significantly impact the UK charts, only reaching number 93. Rocks and Honey was well received by music critics and received 2 5-star ratings. All 13 tracks were brand new, selected by Tyler when she visited several Nashville-based music publishers in the previous year. Notable songwriters include Frank J. Myers, Desmond Child, Brett James and Beth Hart. The album charted reasonably well in Europe, reaching number 28 in Denmark, number 52 in the United Kingdom and number 59 in both Germany and Switzerland. After the Eurovision Song Contest finished, Tyler moved on to other projects, continuing promotion of the new album in France and releasing a new compilation, All the Hits. She has also shown interest in touring with Rocks and Honey in the UK and France, though nothing has yet been confirmed. In August 2013, the second single from the album, This Is Gonna Hurt, was released, and was B-listed on BBC Radio 2's Airplay playlist. She has since performed the track in concerts including the NDR Summer Tour in Germany on July 27, 2013. A positive review was written after the concert. This Is Gonna Hurt failed to chart worldwide. On September 16, however, it was announced by Labrador Music that Love As the Knife would be the third single, and would be performed on the Danish TV show, Charlie's Jutigla, broadcast on Danish TV2, along with another one of her hit singles. This single also failed to chart. Tyler completed her South Africa tour 2013 in September 2013 with her band, which included 2 sellout shows in Johannesburg at the Emperor's Palace Hotel and Casino. She performed 4 new tracks from Rocks and Honey and also visited several tourist sites around Cape Town towards the end of the tour, which marked 20 years since her last concert in the country. The tour was widely reported by South African media. Upon her return to the United Kingdom, Tyler visited the BBC Radio 2 studios in London to record for the Tracks of My Years segments on Ken Bruce's morning show, which lasted for 5 days beginning on the week commencing September 9, 2013. In the following week, Faster Than the Speed of Night, Tyler's most successful album, was retitled Faster Than the Speed of Night under a re-release marking the 30th anniversary of its release in the United States in 1983. In the following month, Tyler's latest compilation, The Collection, was also released under Sony Music. After album promotion in South Africa, Tyler traveled to Russia for the regional release of Rocks and Honey. She performed in the Crocus City Hall, Moscow, on January 31, 2013. While in Portugal, Tyler was asked to appear on Surprised! The show in Barcelona on February 20, 2014. It remained secret that Tyler would appear on the show. She performed Total Eclipse of the Heart, and Holding Out for a Hero and Tita Principle to the audience, and was met with positive reviews from the press. She visited Swansea University a week later to celebrate their Welcome to Wales Food Festival, and performed a few traditional Welsh songs with the Gaynor Choir. Tyler performed Holding Out for a Hero live on Ant in December's Saturday Night Takeaway on March 22 as part of the Sing Along Live segment of the show. 2014, live work and upcoming releases. Since the release of Rocks and Honey, Tyler spent her time performing at live concerts, and has also recorded 2 new duets. The first is an Italian-English version of My Career with Reggie Roberts, for his album One Day Like This, which was released on April 14, 2014. Tyler was also involved in a tribute project for Scottish singer-songwriter Frankie Miller, put together by British rock singer Spike. The album is called 100% Pure Frankie Miller, and contains a duet between Tyler and Spike entitled Fortune. The album was released on September 8, 2014. Planet Mosh described Tyler's voice as the female equivalent to Spike's, and that they sing in perfect harmony. Meat Loaf has expressed interest in collaborating with Tyler for his upcoming album. Jim Steinman has made contributions for this album. The duo recruited Ellen Foley and Carla DeVito for duets, and Meat Loaf told Star Pulse, "I am going to talk to Jimmy Steinman and see whether he wants to use Bonnie Tyler or the girl who did anything for love, Lorraine Crosby." Artistry, influences. Born into a musical family, Tyler grew up listening to a wide range of musical genres. One of Tyler's earliest musical memories was listening to her mother singing opera music in the family home. Tyler attended church until she was 16 years old. Her first ever performance was singing All Things Bright and Beautiful in church. Her mother also exposed her to the rock opera song Barcelona by Freddie Mercury and Montserrat Caballé copyright. "Every time it comes on the radio wherever I am in the world, it's just oh, mummy." She was also exposed to the music of Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, the Beatles and other 60s bands due to her siblings' musical tastes. Tyler's 2 biggest influences from a young age were Janis Joplin and Tina Turner. She cites River Deep Mountain High as being her all-time favorite song. Other artists that influenced Tyler in her youth include Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, Meat Loaf, Joe Cocker, Dusty Springfield and Tommy Steele. In the later years of her career, Tyler listened to artists from various genres, such as rock band Guns N' Roses, pop singers Anastacia and Duffy, and hip-hop artist Eminem. She has also expressed interest in collaborating with Adele, whom she describes as a great songwriter, singer and performer. Vocal style. Tyler's music contains elements of country, rock, pop, blues and Celtic. Her voice has had her compared to Rod Stewart and Kim Carnes as a result of her vocal nodules operation in the 1970s, sometimes even being referenced as the female Rod Stewart, and the female Meat Loaf, after her collaboration with Jim Steinman. Soon after her operation, when recording her second album Natural Force, the studio band complimented Tyler's changed voice. Reviewers from AllMusic have described Tyler's voice as inimitable, wonderfully gritty, and an effective instrument for drawing notice to her first managers, Ronnie Scott and Steve Wolfe. In a review of Rocks and Honey, OMH Media described Tyler's vocals as being good for only one thing and that her unregistered trademark belting out gravely vocals, suggesting that she sounds like Johnny Cash in his later years when she tries to restrain her voice. With reference to her modern voice, the Yorkshire Times wrote, "Has the gritty vocal of Bonnie Tyler still got what it takes to make you tingle?" The simple answer is yes. Jim Steinman told People magazine that he wrote Total Eclipse of the Heart as a showpiece for Tyler's voice. AllMusic said that Tyler's voice produced the perfect type of desperate love-lorn effect to suit the romantic lyrics. Songwriting. Though songwriting has never been a significant part of Tyler's career, she has co-written a handful of B-sides and other tracks. Gonna Get Better, a B-side to the 1980 Japanese single Sayonara Tokyo, was written with her brother, Paul Hopkins. In 2001, Tyler co-wrote 4 songs with Gary Pickford Hopkins on his GPH album, and duetted with him on the track Loving You Means Leaving You. Tyler was also involved in writing several tracks for her 2005 album Wings, including its singles Louise and Celebrate. Collaborations. Bonnie Tyler has collaborated on a number of tracks between 1983 and 2014. Early collaborations: Tyler did not record any duets while signed to RCA Records between 1976 and 1980, when her contract ended. Her first two duets were released in 1983. She recorded When Love Attacks with Rick Derringer for his rock album Good Dirty Fun. She also recorded Tears with Frankie Miller for her own album Faster Than the Speed of Night. In 1985, she recorded A Rockin' Good Way with Shakin' Stevens for his album The Bop Won't Stop. The song was released as a single, and made it to #1 in Ireland. In 1987, Tyler recorded vocals for the Mike Oldfield single Islands, which was a European chart hit. Tyler stated that she was disappointed with the end result. "When I recorded that song, it was a lot longer, they edited so much out of it. I think they edited the best parts out of it," she told Swansea Sound in a 1988 interview. She performed the song with Oldfield at the 1987 Golden Europa Awards. In the same year, she also recorded Loving You's a Dirty Job But Somebody's Gotta Do It, which was sung with Todd Rundgren, and released as a single from her albums Secret Dreams and Forbidden Fire. Tyler also recorded backing vocals with Darlene Love on Perfection, a song from Cher's self-titled album. She also recorded backing vocals with Michael Bolton for the song Emotional Fire, which was released on Cher's album Heart of Stone. Later collaborations: for the soundtrack of the animated TV show The Dreamstone, Tyler recorded Into the Sunset with songwriter Mike Batt. She recorded 3 duets on her Hansa Records albums in the 1990s. The first duets were Heaven Is Here with producer Giorgio Moroder, and Till the End of Time with Dan Hartman, both released on Bitter Blue. She later recorded her second duet with Frankie Miller, Save Your Love, which was released on her album Angel Heart. She also collaborated with Jim Steinman again in the late 1990s, recording Tire Tracks and Broken Hearts for the concept album of Steinman and Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical Whistle Down the Wind. She also provided vocals at the end of Meat Loaf's A Kiss Is a Terrible Thing to Waste track. Tyler recorded Live for Love with Andrea Bocelli for her album All in One Voice, which was expected to be released as a single. The song charted as duets between Bocelli and Gioia, Marta Sanchez, Judy Weiss and Ha copyright Lunizar copyright Gara, though the version with Tyler was never released due to disagreements between record companies. In 2000, Tyler recorded Tables Turn with Mal Pope for his album The Ring. In 2010, she recorded Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now with Albert Hammond on his album Legend. In the same year, she also released Something Going On with Australian country singer Wayne Warner, and a hip-hop version of Making Love Out of Nothing at All with Canadian singer Matt Parr copyright Trin. Tyler recorded What You Need From Me with Vince Gill for her album Rocks and Honey. The song inspired the title of the album, referring to her raspy voice, and his clear voice. Tyler's latest duet with Frankie Miller is due to be released in September 2014. Bilingual duets: Tyler has recorded several bilingual duets. The first release came in 1986. Sem Limites Pra Sona with Brazilian singer Fabio Jr. The song was a hit single in South America. Fabio recorded his vocals in Portuguese, and Tyler's entirely in English. She did the same in 1992, when Pidino Stinoromia was released as a Greek single with Sofia Arvaniti. In 2003, Tyler was approached by French singer Corinne Antone to record a bilingual version of Total Eclipse of the Heart. The track was titled Si Domaine, and reached the top of the French charts for 10 weeks. This was the first duet in which Tyler also sung in another language. On her 2011 compilation Best of 3 CD, Antone's vocals were replaced by backing singer, Fanny Lido, who had contributed backing vocals to Tyler's albums Simply Believe and Wings. In 2004, Tyler recorded vocals in English and German on Veg Ices, sung with Matthias Reim. They also recorded Die Wilden Tra Currency which was featured on Reim's album Sieben Leben. In the following year, she recorded a French-English version of the Bangles hit Eternal Flame on her Best of 3 CD compilation with French singer Laura Zen. Tyler's latest bilingual duet was recorded with Rydian Roberts. They sung My Career in English and Italian for his 2014 album One Day Like This. For the past 6 years, I have longed to record My Career with her, Roberts wrote in the CD sleeve of his album. When I first sent it to her, she phoned me saying it's one of the most beautiful songs she had ever heard. She'd been in tears as it had reminded her of her mum because she used to be an opera singer and would have loved the song. Discography. Studio albums: The World Starts Tonight, Natural Force, Diamond Cut, Goodbye to the Island, Faster Than the Speed of Night, Secret Dreams and Forbidden Fire, Hide Your Heart also known as Notes from America, Bitter Blue, Angel Heart, Silhouette in Red, Free Spirit, All in One Voice, Heartstrings also known as Heart and Soul, Simply Believe, Wings also known as Celebrate, Rocks and Honey, Tours. Though Tyler has had an extensive recording career, she views the live concert aspect to be the main part of her career. She has embarked upon 5 official tours: 1988 Hide Your Heart Tour, 1994, Silhouette in Red Tour, 1996, Free Spirit Tour, 2003, Heartstrings Tour, 2013, South Africa Tour 2013. Tyler's live band currently consists of Keith Attack is one of 2 lead guitarists in Tyler's band, and is also a member of the Eagles tribute band the Illegal Eagles. Matt Pryor is the second lead guitarist from Tyler's band. He co-produced her 2003 album Heartstrings with Tyler's at the time manager David Aspen, and has also worked with musicians such as Nick Mason, Paul Carrack and Mickey Most. Ed Poole is the bassist in Tyler's band. Poole is a solo recording artist as well as bass player for the rock band Romeo's Daughter. John Young has been playing keyboards in Tyler's band since 1993, and is also lead of the John Young Band. Young recently formed a new band named Life Signs. Their debut album of the same name was released in January 2013. Graham Rolfe is the band's drummer and percussionist. Participation in other artists' tours: 2010, Australian tour with Robin Gibb, 2012, Quafestive with Status Quo and Eddie and the Hot Rods, 2013, Rock Meets Classic with the Bohemian Symphony Orchestra Prague, Philanthropy, Bonnie Tyler featured on a 2007 charity album called Over the Rainbow. The event was filmed and shown on the British TV series Challenge Anchor, in which presenter Anchor Rice was set the challenge of putting together a 13-track compilation album made up of songs from musicals in 5 days and organize a promotional concert for the release of the CD. The proceeds went to the Chase Trust Disabled Children's Charity. Tyler selected I Don't Know How to Love Him from one of her favorite musicals, Jesus Christ Superstar. On November 1, 2009, Tyler joined artists including Escala, Joss Stone and Bananarama in a charity concert in support of breast cancer research. It was held at the Royal Albert Hall as a fundraiser for Pinktober. The following year, Tyler headlined in a New Zealand charity variety show alongside Leo Sayer. In November 2012, Tyler donated a Diamante-studded denim jacket to help raise funds for the at-the-time missing 5-year-old April Jones. For the 2013 BBC Children in Need charity appeal, Tyler re-recorded Holding Out for a Hero for 2 promotional clips, with the motto Be a Hero to encourage the public in the charity's fundraising campaign. Local charity: in Portugal, Tyler was named as the patron of the Guia-based AAG, which helps injured, hungry and distressed street animals through the likes of feeding programs and veterinary care. In Wales, Tyler became a supporter and ambassador of Bobarth Children, a unregistered trademark therapy centre in the 1990s. On June 11, 2013, she nominated the charity for the Pride of Britain Awards. She supported Swansea Bay being named the City of Culture 2017 in November 2013. As the patron of the new unregistered trademark ARC appeal, Tyler attended the Choral Welsh Grand National in Chepstow, Wales on December 28, 2013. Tyler performed at a tribute event marking a year since the passing of singer Gary Pigford Hopkins. The event was held in Swansea on June 19, 2014, where Tyler performed alongside her brother Paul Hopkins. Personal life, wealth: since 1988, Tyler and her husband Robert Sullivan have owned a 5-bedroom home in Albufeira in the Algarve. Tyler had recorded one of her albums there in the late 1970s, and the couple had spent the better part of the year there. In 2005, Tyler was filmed in the Algarve for a short Polish entertainment TV show called Zakis Gwiazd, which explores the houses of actors and musicians. Tyler and her property development husband have invested in real estate. As of a 1999 interview, they owned farmland in Portugal and New Zealand, 22 houses in Royal Berkshire and London, and 65 stables offering horse boarding services. In a 2013 interview, Tyler stated that the farm in New Zealand had been converted to a dairy farm 12 years after they purchased the land. In the same interview she also stated that she owns a quarry with her husband. Family: Tyler and her husband Robert Sullivan decided to try to have a baby when she was aged 39. Tyler miscarried and did not conceive again. Some of Tyler's siblings have also had some success in the music business. Her brother, Paul Hopkins, is lead singer of local Swansea band, Sunshine Cab Company. He co-wrote most of Tyler's 1980s B-sides, including Time, and Gonna Get Better, as well as composing some tracks for her albums, such as The Reason Why from All in One Voice. Tyler's sister, Avis Hopkins, featured on Mal Pope's musical soundtrack of Cappuccino Girls, singing the track Today's My Birthday. Avis Hopkins changed her name in the 1980s to Amanda Scott and released the track Lies in 1988. Through her husband, Tyler is related to actress Catherine Zeta-Jones and attended her wedding to Michael Douglas, performing Total Eclipse of the Heart. Legacy, achievements and musical career. Total Eclipse of the Heart and It's a Heartache have estimated sales of over 6 million units each, and are amongst the best-selling singles of all time. In 1983, Tyler became the first female solo artist to debut at #1 in the UK albums chart with Faster Than the Speed of Night. Tyler's previous manager David Aspden aimed to target the UK and US music markets in the 1980s, though success there fluctuated. He decided to base Tyler in Germany, where at the time the Berlin Wall was in place. We used to go through Checkpoint Charlie in East Germany. We must have gone through Checkpoint Charlie at least 20 times. The people weren't allowed to listen to normal radio, they weren't allowed to look at any European television and they weren't allowed to buy records. But when the wall came down, Bonnie's sales absolutely doubled overnight. It was incredible. They had access to the music, and they never forgot how she sacrificed going to East Germany, where nobody else would go, Tyler's husband stated. She was also one of the first Western artists to tour the Soviet Union. Awards, nominations and accolades. Tyler's first major award was received at the 10th World Popular Song Festival in Tokyo in 1979, where Tyler represented the United Kingdom with her single Sitting on the Edge of the Ocean. She went on to win 3 Golden Europa Awards, 1 Echo Award, and a Steiger Award for Lifetime Achievement. In addition, she received 3 Grammy nominations in the 1980s, and 3 Brit Award nominations. After the Eurovision Song Contest 2013, Eurovision Song Contest Radio hosted their annual awards, where Tyler was the first United Kingdom representative to receive an award. She won Best Song and Best Female Singer. As well as music awards, Tyler has received local honours in Wales, and became Freeman of Neathport Talbot in 2011 for her lifelong worldwide contribution in the field of entertainment. Swansea University presented Tyler with an honorary degree in July 2013. She was made a Doctor of Literature. In October 2013, Tyler was presented with the British Academy of Songwriters, Composers and Authors Award in the Savoy Hotel. See also, List of artists who reached #1 on the UK singles chart, List of artists who reached #1 on the Hot 100, List of best-selling music artists, references. External links, official website, Bonnie Tyler at the Internet Movie Database.